What if I told you that tomorrow could be the day everything changes for Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong investors around the world? Imagine waking up and realizing that a small piece of paper in your hand, a 25,000 dinar note or a 500,000 dong note, could suddenly look completely different in value, form, and function. The discussions are heating up like never before. Economists, traders, and investors are watching every move, every whisper, every government meeting with anticipation. The big question being asked right now is this: are we about to see a major shift in how these two currencies are valued and used? Today, in this 2025 update, we're breaking down real numbers, real facts, and what tomorrow's big possibility might actually mean for you. Stay with us till the end, because understanding this could help you separate hype from reality. Let's start by taking a closer look at the Iraqi dinar, a currency that continues to spark global debate. As of today, in 2025, the exchange rate hovers 0.89 per US dollar, meaning a 25,000 dinar note is worth roughly 22. On paper, it doesn't sound like much, but what makes this currency fascinating is its potential for structural change. There's been ongoing talk about Iraq's plan to remove 3 zeros from its currency. Now, what does that mean in simple terms? It's called a redenomination, not a revaluation. It means Iraq could issue new notes where 25,000 dinars become 25 dinars, while maintaining the same total value in the economy. In short, it's about simplifying numbers, not multiplying wealth. Here's how that process actually works. Imagine you have that 25,000 dinar note. Under the current exchange rate, you'd get about 22 if you exchanged it today. Now, if Iraq officially removes 3 zeros, the 25,000 note would be replaced by a 25 dinar note in the new currency system, would also adjust to reflect the change, moving from 0.089 to around 0.089 per dollar. Notice how the zeros simply move, but the actual purchasing power stays exactly the same, so your new 25 dinars would still be worth a 22, just cleaner and easier to use in everyday transactions. That's the core of redenomination, making the math simpler without changing the real value. Now, some investors confuse redenomination with revaluation, and that's where expectations often go off track. A redenomination doesn't increase your wealth. It's purely a mathematical and logistical cleanup. But a revaluation, that's where the real change happens. A revaluation would mean that the value of the currency itself increases, giving you more purchasing power for the same number of notes. That type of move requires genuine economic strength, international confidence, and political stability, not just a government announcement. So when people talk about the RV, the revaluation, they're talking about something much deeper than removing zeros. It's about whether the economy itself can support a stronger, more valuable currency. Let's use a real-world comparison. Back in 2005, Turkey removed 6 zeros from its currency, a note that once read 1,000 lira suddenly became 1 new lira. The value didn't change overnight, only the numbers did later. As Turkey's economy improved and inflation dropped, the lira strengthened gradually. This same process happened in Brazil, Zimbabwe, and Germany at different times in history. It's a normal tool used by governments to modernize and stabilize their monetary systems. So when Iraq discusses removing 3 zeros, it's not a sign of magic wealth creation. It's a move toward cleaner accounting, better public confidence, and simpler daily transactions. But what could this mean for investors holding dinar right now in 2025? The truth is simple. Redenomination alone won't change the total value you hold. If you have 1 million dinars today worth around 80-90, you'll likely end up with 1,000 new dinars worth the same 80-90 lira after the redenomination. However, if Iraq's economic growth continues to improve, if inflation remains stable, oil exports stay strong, and foreign investment increases, then there's a possibility that a revaluation could follow. That's where investors' hopes lie. But it's critical to remember growth takes time, stability takes patience, and genuine value comes from progress, not quick announcements. So, what's Iraq actually been doing behind the scenes? Over the past few years, Iraq has been rebuilding its infrastructure, working with international partners, and diversifying beyond oil. The government has pushed forward reforms to strengthen its banking system, improve financial regulations, and increase non-oil revenue streams. These steps are essential for long-term currency stability. The country has also maintained dialogue with global financial institutions to align its monetary policies with international standards. All of these efforts signal one thing: Iraq is preparing the ground for a stronger, more credible financial system. Whether that leads to a currency renomination or just a redenomination, time will tell. Now, let's shift our focus to the Vietnamese dong, another currency drawing attention from investors worldwide. In 2025, the dong trades around $24 into $1. Like Iraq, Vietnam has also discussed simplifying its currency by removing zeros. If that happens, a 500,000 dong note could become a 500 dong note. The exchange rate would move from 24,000 to 24 per dollar. Again, this would be a redenomination, not a sudden wealth explosion. It would make the currency more manageable for both domestic and international use, helping businesses and banks operate with fewer numerical complications. The question remains whether Vietnam would pair such a move with a gradual appreciation of its currency value. Vietnam's economic story is different but equally powerful. Over the last decade, the country has become a manufacturing hub for global giants in technology, electronics, and textiles. It's one of the fastest growing economies in Southeast Asia, with stable GDP growth and rising foreign currency reserves. The Vietnamese government has steadily strengthened its financial institutions, modernized its banking system, and improved trade partnerships. These strong fundamentals suggest that the dong could appreciate naturally over time, supported by genuine economic growth, not speculation. The removal of zeros would only simplify currency use, while actual value would depend on Vietnam's continued progress and international confidence. So what's everyone waiting for? Why is there so much buzz right now in 2025? The reason is timing. Both Iraq and Vietnam have reached critical points in their economic journeys. Iraq is moving forward with financial modernization, while Vietnam continues to attract record levels of foreign investment. Rumors have been swirling that upcoming economic meetings could include discussions about currency structure adjustments. But remember, official redenominations or revaluations are major national projects. Governments need months of preparation, communication, and logistical planning before any change goes live. This means if an announcement is truly near, the signs will become very clear and public before anything happens. Let's talk about how these transitions actually happen. When a country decides to remove zeros, it doesn't just change the currency overnight. It starts with official government announcements, followed by public awareness campaigns, banking updates, and currency printing. Old and new notes often circulate together for several years to allow people time to adapt. No one loses money because the value equivalence is maintained. You could still use your old dinar or dong during the transition. Eventually, the old notes are phased out, replaced by the new, smaller denomination ones. This is exactly how countries like Turkey and Brazil handled their reforms, gradually and transparently. So what should you as an investor or observer be watching in the coming weeks and months? Start by monitoring official statements from Iraq's central bank and Vietnam's state bank. These are the only trustworthy sources of real updates. Next, keep an eye on economic indicators like inflation, GDP growth, and foreign investment inflows. These factors determine whether a currency revaluation makes sense economically. Watch also for political stability, because currency strength relies heavily on consistent policy and leadership. And finally, observe international confidence levels. The higher the trust from global markets, the stronger the long-term outlook becomes for both the dinar and the dong. One point often missed in online discussions is that redenomination does not erase your wealth. It simply changes how your wealth is counted. Imagine this example again: you own 1 million Iraqi dinars worth about 80-90 today. After removing 3 zeros, you'd have 1,000 new dinars worth that same 890. Nothing disappears. Your purchasing power remains identical. The numbers on the notes change, but the value behind them doesn't. That's why it's essential to understand the difference between redenomination and revaluation. Only a revaluation based on real economic strength could increase your purchasing power. Understanding that distinction helps prevent unrealistic expectations and emotional decision-making. Some investors are asking, could both happen together? Technically, yes. A redenomination and revaluation could occur simultaneously, but that would require extraordinary economic readiness and confidence. It's not impossible, but it's rare. For now, most signs suggest Iraq's focus remains on redenomination as part of a larger modernization plan, not an immediate RV. However, if the country's reforms continue to bear fruit, increased foreign investment, stronger trade partnerships, and greater regional stability, then a future evaluation could eventually become realistic. The same applies to Vietnam's sustainable growth first, stronger currency second, step by step, not overnight. As we move deeper into 2025, one thing is certain: both Iraq and Vietnam are becoming stronger players in the global economy. Iraq's progress in digital banking, financial infrastructure, and oil diversification has not gone unnoticed. Vietnam's manufacturing strength and export dominance have earned international respect. These are not the same economies they were a decade ago. That's why investors are watching so closely now, because both nations are quietly laying the groundwork for future financial independence and strength. Whether that translates into currency reform this year or next, these are long-term stories of growth, not short-term speculation. So as discussions heat up and excitement grows online, it's crucial to keep your mindset grounded. Always verify information through official government or banking channels. Avoid rumors that claim tomorrow is the RV. Economic transformation doesn't happen in a single night. When it happens, it will be announced clearly, publicly, and with full instructions for citizens and investors. Remember, patience and education always outperform emotion and hype. The smartest investors are those who prepare calmly, stay informed, and understand both the potential and the process. Tomorrow could indeed bring new headlines. Economic meetings are taking place, reforms are advancing, and progress is being made quietly behind the scenes. But whether or not a major announcement comes, the real opportunity lies in understanding how these systems work. Knowledge is your best investment tool. The more you understand redenomination, revaluation, and the reasons behind them, the better you can position yourself for the future, not through guesswork, but through awareness. The global economy rewards those who think long-term, not those who chase fast promises. So as we close this 2025 update, remember this: removing 3 zeros doesn't make anyone rich. It makes the system more efficient. Real wealth comes from real growth. Keep watching official reports, follow economic data, and stay clear of rumors. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, share this video with others who need clarity, and let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to cover next. Because here on Iraqi Dinar News, our goal is simple: to give you real facts, real numbers, and real understanding, so you can make real decisions. Stay informed, stay calm, and we'll see you in the next update.